In today's episode, I have a great talk with my buddy Kyle, where we delve into the world of Canadian politics. Unlike many of my other friends, Kyle enjoys talking about these things because, like me, he feels it's important, now more than ever, to keep an eye on what's going on behind the red curtain. The truth is, Canadians are being lied to every day, and while this isn't my favorite topic to talk about, I feel it's important that we spread awareness of these things, from the cancellation of news access through social media, compelled speech laws, and everything in between going on in Canada. I really hope you enjoy. Welcome, everybody, back to Norwich Just Board, episode number 108. I'm joined by my good buddy Kyle.
Heyo.
Everybody knows Stremlin, or we all know him as SASKKyle, actually. It's usually what I put you down as because you're a famous streamer.
World famous.
World famous.
Yeah, my mom tells me.
From east to west coast.
Yeah. Of my house, maybe.
Yeah, exactly right. That's how I feel. I'll like tell random people that I have a podcast. Like they'll be asking, like, yeah, they're like, oh, people should start podcasts. I'm like, I have a podcast actually. They're like, oh, no way. How many people listen to it? Like crazy? I'm like, like 10.
Yeah. My mom.
Yeah, like my mom.
Actually, my neighbors from really pissed that day.
Actually, funny thing is, my parents don't even know I have one. Like, they don't. I mean, my dad's kind of a Luddite. Like, he doesn't really use technology. The moment they introduced computers to his job, he was out the fucking door. And then he literally retired. He did
nice.
He did a crazy stunt. I mean, Dad, if you ever hear this, I'm sorry, but it's a funny story. He didn't really know how to use email very well, but he had a complaint with the company, but instead of hitting the reply button, he hit the reply all button. And he ended up sending his reply email, which was not very nice, to the whole company, including the CEO. And
that happens.
Yeah, you know what my dad said in return? He's like, I got some free days off.
Worked out.
He's like, yeah. He's like, I sent one email. He's like, I got a good week off work. It was kind of cool. Unpaid, of course, but
whatever.
Free vacation. We'll expect nothing less from those government workers. Now, obviously, the reason I have you on, I mean, besides the fact that you're a dear friend, we kind of always have these political things we said back and forth to each other, and the podcast is hit or miss, right? I always say I don't like to get too political, but at the same time, I feel like I have to, because I'm not as worried about the intricacies of all this stuff, because I'm not, I start to fall asleep on some of it because just like some of it gets boring.
It gets boring.
But like,
I mean, I want to be able to tell. I want to be able to tell you don't get political. As an avid viewer myself,
yeah, right.
Get political
a
lot.
The thing is, in Canada, which anybody who listens knows, this Canadian podcast, it's scary right now. The political climate, America's not much better, but still, in Canada, it's verging on communism, like crazy bullshit.
It's just verging on insanity. What it's verging on for sure.
It really is, but so we want to come on and just kind of have a little bit of a political thing, because we don't really, not that I try to avoid it, but I try to. A lot of people just don't care. They don't want to really talk about it, or people aren't in the know. But when there's a big fuck up, I like to talk about it. But I was like, you know what? We're just going to get Stramick on here. We're going to lay it all on the line.
We're going to get a little political today.
Exactly. So if you don't like politics, go listen to Joe Rogan. There's no politics on that show.
not a single politic at all.
No, nothing. Robert Kennedy Jr. was not on that podcast. Also, don't demonetize me, YouTube, for saying Robert Kennedy Jr.
But you're out of here.
Well, fuck, I got my episode 6. I've talked about this a lot on here. Episode 6 of the podcast got taken off the air on YouTube because I mentioned Joe Rogan in the fucking description, and it was COVID
And
times.
you already talked about Joe Rogan. You're gonna be demonetized anyway.
I know their bots are coming after me.
Non-political Joe Rogan podcast, and you're
Exactly.
already off the air.
Must be
Just
the
saying.
automatons. but
Yes.
before we get into our nice political stuff that everybody's dying to hear, well, there actually are a lot of people that like the politics stuff, which is nice. But it's 50-50. Anyways,
Yeah.
before we get into that stuff, I want to say it's not political, I guess, but it's kind of in a way. Did you hear what's going on with the fast food restaurants right now? The whole
No.
thing. I don't know if this is just in Canada or if it's American, but it's in Canada for sure. They're actually going to be raising the prices now during peak hours.
Really?
So yeah, yeah. So if you come at lunch rush to Wendy's, you're going to pay $1 or $2 extra for your meal as like a surcharge for coming during a busy time. And same with
That's
after hours. If it's a 24/7 location, if you come after midnight, from midnight to like 8 a.m., you're gonna pay a surcharge
huh.
for for I don't know, services rendered. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And that kind of, again, I told you it's not political, but it kind of is because it sparked a whole debate
It,
online.
it, I mean, it kind of is political. It's also just okay. So you're gonna charge people. You're gonna charge people for paying for food
Yeah,
at the wrong time.
it doesn't make sense to me. And people are talking about, well, this is where it gets political. Is people are saying, well, are you paying those workers extra during that time? Which
Yeah,
I don't know if you know this, but fast food workers, the answer is no. They they don't pay
they
extra
don't
for
get
that.
they don't get paid much. No,
No.
I mean for reasons. It's
It's
fast food.
yeah. I mean, it's like I always said, and you know, we have a couple buddies that work in this industry, and they're really shouldn't be, but that's besides the point. I still love you, but you know, it's a young man's game. It's meant for 15 to 20-year-old, whatever, for beer money, you know? It's meant
Kind of.
as that kind of job, you know? It's not meant to be a lifelong career unless you go into management or, you know, into the
Well,
exec.
yeah. You go crawl up the ladder, and then there's there can be a career there, but like it's not a career for somebody who's really invested in trying to push themselves to make more money or anything like that.
No, exactly.
It's
Exactly.
for those people who are happy doing whatever they do at home and don't want to focus on work.
Yeah, like
It's like Walmart.
the SpongeBobs of the world.
Yeah.
I don't know what SpongeBob makes, but he's been a fry cook for like 25 years, so
He better be making a lot of money.
look.
He has a whole show based off of him.
Hey, yeah, those 30-cent raises add up, bro.
SpongeBob, don't do that.
SpongeBob. Love
My
that show.
clarinet.
You're playing it like this. Oh, that's too funny. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what you think about that, but I think that's absolute garbage. Uh Making people spend extra money
I mean,
for
people will probably still come in, or the peak hours are going to end up changing.
yeah, I mean, ultimately I think people are gonna come in regardless, but like I don't know about you. I don't eat fast food that often anymore because it's just too expensive. Like if you feed 3 people, for example, at like A&W, you're looking at $60 minimum.
It's pretty expensive. It's damn near, yeah, 15 to 20 bucks for like a meal.
Yeah,
So
and it's literally a minute on the lips, lifetime on the
yeah,
hips.
it's how she goes, man.
Yeah, it's stupid. But either way, we're gonna get into our little political stuff. So I want to start off with this video. Obviously, you already know it's coming because we already talked about it. That's the secret of
Yo,
these
I sure do.
podcasts. We have a little pregame where we talk with each
Yeah,
other. Maybe we, you know,
fondle our balls.
yeah, we do. We kind of,
It's like a sports pregame. We get dressed.
well, it's like everybody accuses us of. We just lick Pierre Poilievre's ass. That's all we do,
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
and we suck off the trucker convoy.
Far right podcast, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I want to open with this video just because I think it's funny and it'll set the mood for everybody. This is Pierre Poilievre in fuck, what is it called? What it's not Congress. What is it? House of Commons, right?
Yeah, House of Commons.
House
There
of
you go.
Commons. He's having a little debate with Trudeau, who seems to think that the carbon tax doesn't affect the price of anything. So we'll let you guys watch this real quick. Well, listen to it rather.
He wants to know the link between the carbon tax and the food price. Well, I'll help him out. So farmers use something called diesel. It goes in their tractors and combines and drying machines. It goes in their off-farm fuels that pay the carbon tax, on which he wants to quadruple the tax. Then the truckers who pick up the food, transport it to the grocery store, pay the carbon tax. Then the grocer pays the carbon tax to power the heat in that big Olympic stadium size chamber we call a grocery store. If he doesn't get the link, how is he ever going to fix the problem?
The problem with the story that the Leader of the Opposition just told is there's absolutely no data to support it. He is all about political attacks. He is all about inventing reasons to not take action on the fight against climate change because his Conservative Party still doesn't understand that you cannot have a plan for Canadians' future or the future of the economy if you don't have a plan to fight climate change. Not only are we fighting climate change, Mr. Speaker, we're putting more money back in the pockets of Canadians.
He wants.
Yeah, so that came from Rachel Thomas on Instagram, that video. I mean, you know as well as I do, it's pretty obvious that Trudeau's out of touch when it comes to this stuff, right?
100%. Also, I hope my muting didn't make any noise on your end.
I didn't hear it. That video, to be honest,
Awesome.
Apologies to headphone users, that video is quite loud, so I might even have to turn that down in editing. It was pretty loud, but I'd rather have it louder than quieter. Do you ever find it when people play videos on podcasts, like even Joe Rogan, who's got good production, crazy production value, right? The videos are always quiet when you're listening to them. It's like I can't even fucking hear what's going on. But
yeah, I know. I hear you exactly.
so I prefer when I can, I can actually hear them. So, so what do you think? Is there no correlation there? There's no, trucks don't pay carbon tax. That wouldn't affect the price of anything, right?
Well, no. Trudeau is absolutely right. There's been no basis to distinguish that carbon tax might have any effect, except, and mind you, I'm going to be giving you a bunch of stuff in the chat thing right now, unless you listen to these people here. So our first one is a semi-skull. I don't know. I can't remember who this one was actually about. Oh gosh. It was just a scholar. It was just a paper done on the effects of carbon tax on food, and a study analyzes it, and the findings suggest that carbon tax has a negative impact on both food prices and food consumption patterns in Canada, meaning it does affect. But what do they know? Let's see what Bloomberg has to say. Those economic people in Bloomberg, those experts. They say experts say cutting the carbon tax, diversifying food sources, and reducing domestic trade barriers are among the policy options that could bring down grocery costs in Canada. So, again, cutting the carbon tax. Obviously, Bloomberg knows nothing about economics, though, Mr. Trudeau.
No.
So, what about the Fraser Institute? Well, I'm not going to bother reading the quote, but to summarize it, at $50 per ton for the carbon tax, the increase of food prices goes up 3%. We've gone up to 65 tons, I believe, right now.
Yeah.
And we're set to go up to $170 per ton in 2030. So those all affect the price of food.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's really just basic, like, economics, and basic, just follow the money. If you so you put the carbon tax on anything that pollutes, well, everything that uses that fossil fuel energy is going to get affected because it all has to use it. The trucks have to use the diesel. The farmers have to use the diesel. I don't get what. And there's those protests going on in Europe. I can't remember. Is it France where the farmers are protesting?
France. I know France had a diesel one. I think they're also doing the same thing, having this protests for other carbon pricing. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think all over Europe there's been protests against this because it drives the price of them making food up to a point where like they just aren't making money.
Yeah, well, it's stupid, and I think it has to do with control, right? I think people are just trying to control people, and like it's not even necessarily about money anymore. It's just about control and being like, "Yeah, I got you by the balls." But it's like, why the fuck are we attacking farmers? Like, farmers are the people that put food on everybody's plates. Like, that is the last person you should be attacking.
Well, it's they're trying to put pressure on the companies by putting pressure on the people to promote cleaner energy sources. But the problem is, like the companies don't give a shit for one. Like there's
No,
very little incentive for them to actually do anything to change the carbon footprint that we're putting onto the planet. Like we still use gas and coal because it's more effective than some of the cleaner sources. In
Yeah.
Germany, to fly a little bit further away from Canada, if you've heard about Germany cutting the nuclear power because their environmentalists were having a fit about the nuclear power that they had. Well, here they go. They cut the nuclear power. There's no more nuclear power in Germany. Well, now they have to get renewable sources that don't work half the time. So they started replacing some with coal. And for the most part, right now, they're buying power from France because they can't power their cities.
yeah. So they got a California issue going on.
Yeah. Well, renewables just aren't at that point.
No. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again on here. I'm not against renewable energy. I don't think anybody is. I think
No, I love it.
I think electric is the way to go in the future. But the problem is, it's not there yet. We can't, it was really hilarious when they did it in California. They said, "Oh, go green. We're gonna stop fossil fuels by 2035," just like Trudeau said. And the next fucking week, they had like a power problem, like a problem with the grid, and they're like, "Please avoid charging your electric vehicles. It's really stressing
Yeah.
out the grid." It's like, well, what the fuck? What do you guys want us to do?
Well, and the batteries are just too expensive to make.
Yeah,
That's another problem because when you have to store this this power, the batteries are just way too expensive. Like I don't know the exact figures, but you'd be paying trillions of dollars to basically power a small city for a day. If the wind dies out and the sun's not around, in this lovely thing that we call winter, when that happens a lot, you're
yeah,
screwed.
yeah.
This is fact.
No,
They are
it
getting
is.
close to nuclear fission, which would be a potential for a consistent, ever-going power source. But until they make it there, I personally want them to focus on nuclear.
Yeah,
I've always wanted that.
yeah. I've heard a lot of good things about it, and people are always scared because when they think nuclear, they think of Hiroshima. They think of or not,
Yeah,
not,
think of
not
all the bad
Fuku,
things.
not
I mean,
here.
they might think of Hiroshima.
Fuck.
Hopefully not.
That's a nuclear bomb. Fukushima, rather. Not Hiroshima was the one that got nuked. Fukushima
Yeah.
was the nuclear plant. Sorry, there. Sorry, hit my mic there.
They're
Had a
close.
brain fart.
Hey, people, but to be fair though, people do think about Hiroshima. They think about the power plant going off and being just a nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
That's just not how it works.
No, exactly. It's just
Yeah.
what happened there was that bad safety protocols, and they ended up melting down. And then
This is Hiroshima or Fukushima? 'Cause I don't know
Fukushima.
if there was safety protocols for Hiroshima.
No. That was just that was just a bad time all around. Sorry,
Let's see
Oppenheimer.
what this does. Sorry, guys. Hey, Japanese audience. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oppenheimer and Einstein, brilliant guys, but they like to crash parties, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
but yeah, fuck, that's hilarious that I said that instead of Fukushima.
got bombed into anime, man.
Jesus Christ. Yeah,
So,
exactly. It evolved into anime, which is sweet.
so
But
I do
that
have one other article related to this carbon tax and affordability, eh?
okay, yeah, roll it.
Yeah. I want to be a cool guy. I want to play devil's advocate for Mr. Trudeau, eh?
Okay.
So I
Steelman
found this.
argument.
Don't blame carbon pricing for affordability challenges by the T, which is, as I found out here, it's a British Columbia founded newspaper thing.
Okay, it's from
So
BC.
you know how they are. But it has some pretty reputable writers for this article here. It was two economic. One was a teacher. I think they might have actually both been teachers. Jennifer Winters, who's economics and public policy professor at the University of Calgary, and her friend Trevor Tombe. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah.
Also from University of Calgary, professor of economics. So they're the devil's advocate here. They go on basically talking about how carbon tax doesn't really change the affordability of food. However, I would like to note that they do go into it and say carbon tax increases the average cost of food by about 0.33%. So relative to what they would be in absence of a carbon tax. So not a percent, just a little bit. But the fact of the matter is, it does remain that it is a little bit. It does increase the price, and
Right,
they
of course.
continue talking about how there's other things that are causing the price to go higher, and that is true. But I'm sorry to say this, if you're a fan of the Liberals, all of that comes in from how they're handling the money and how they're pushing inflation. They're printing way too much money to cover their spending that they just don't have the money to spend.
That's the
So-
biggest problem is inflation. It's
Exactly.
like yes, I'm like people who are on the conservative spectrum aren't sitting here going like, yeah, the carbon tax is just what ruined the world. No, it's not. It's the carbon tax is just a small drop.
Annoying.
It's a small drop in like that's his way of trying to recoup costs from his inflationary spending.
It's also pointless because it doesn't do the job you want it to do.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
If you want clean energy resources right now, I know how to get it done. I know how you would get the businessman on board. It might not be the perfect fix. Hell, it might not even work exactly as I believe. But you give them a tax break and incentive to these businesses that run these oil operating power plants and refineries and shit like that. Give them a tax break. Give them some money, like grants and shit, to build clean energy things. They'll be on it like that.
Oh yeah.
Like that. They're saving money because nobody wants to build a like $20 million nuclear power plant when they already have a $5 million completely fully operating coal plant that they can turn into a gas plant with like $500,000 worth of renovation. No one wants that. You give them a tax break that makes them money in the long run, gets them a little bit of money in the short term, like that.
Oh yeah, they love that. That's their
They
whole
love money.
That's their whole point. They love businesses love money.
Yeah.
And that's all you got to really do. But when it comes to
The
this,
taxes don't come to us.
no, and give them tax breaks to do those incentives, but don't. And this, I noticed, I was kind of obviously I haven't been reading the whole article because I've been listening to you, but I've been kind of skimming through and like just seeing that they have a whole the tie that
The tea. I think it's supposed to be tea.
The tea? Okay. Oh yeah,
I think so.
Like spilling the tea, is that what they mean? But it's spelled Tyee, but I think that's because the guy's name is that's the guy's name. I don't know.
Maybe.
But there's a little, I don't know what you call it, a section called Payments Outweigh the Carbon Tax Cost. And that's one thing that I always hear. You always hear Trudeau talk about that, about how he's like, Canadians will be getting back more than what they paid in their refunds. And that's just, it's not fucking true. That's not true at all.
It's both not true. It's demonstrably not true. We know that it's around $29,000 that that people are spending into the carbon tax, and they get $1,800 back. I believe those are the Alberta numbers. Also, if that was the case, then why are you fucking doing it?
Yeah,
we're just loaning you money and then you're giving us more back.
And that's what it comes back down to, right? It comes to common sense. You look at if we're really gonna make more or even break even, then why? There's no fucking point. Obviously, it's got to cost more. He's just saving
Yeah.
face saying stuff like that. So it just doesn't make sense to me. And obviously, if you do less things with carbon, like with fossil fuels, like if say you drive an electric vehicle and all that, you have solar panels, whatever, you'll pay less carbon tax. So yeah, I guess you will, but you'll still get that rebate. But is the rebate a lump sum or is it based
mean-
off a percentage?
I think it's a lump sum. So like maybe that's his reasoning. His thinking is like, oh well, if people just use it less and then they can get the 1,800 back and they'll have more money than they spent in the carbon tax. But it's like, yeah, that's I have to get to work.
Exactly. That's the thing. Nobody's like that. There's not a fucking person in Alberta or Saskatchewan or anywhere in Canada really that has solar panel like that's off the grid completely. You got solar panels, you got a Tesla, everything. You're just
I mean,
completely off
there might be
fossil
some
fuels.
people. There might be some people, but like who are like at least under that, not like completely off, but at least under that limit.
Well,
But
for
like,
sure. But a lot of them got to be
Good luck.
really rich or you're
or
using
homeless.
or you're using public transit and all that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But
Just have a fucking shopping cart and that's the way they go.
yeah,
No
exactly.
carbon tax needed.
I don't think they're getting no rebate.
I don't think they're doing their taxes.
Exactly. I don't think they're doing their taxes, but I don't know. I just when I look at the liberal like caucus, is that what you call it? They're
Yeah.
whole thing,
Yeah,
right?
caucus.
It's like when I look at that, it's just I see just people who are out of touch and they want to save the world, so they say, but like this whole climate change thing, and I kind of looked into that a lot over the years, and I've listened to a lot of podcasts about it, and nobody really can confirm that this is a real thing.
Well,
There-
here's the thing. Like,
It's
I've seen the science of it. Like, people like CO2 affects the climate.
yes,
Like, we know it affects the climate. It does create a climate change effect. So like I see a lot of right-wing podcasts talk about this in particular, especially you. Kidding, just kidding. But like I've done a small amount of science courses, so I can see where it is that climate change is real. How much of a problem is it really? We can't necessarily say is something I would say. Like I don't think any scientist can truly say, and I know I'm not exactly like a crazy scientist or anything like this, but I base this back on the fact that like everyone since the 80s they've been saying like there's gonna be an ice age,
yeah,
then it's gonna heat up, and then like we're past the point of no return with point of no returns right ahead, or the point of no returns right ahead, and like 2020 we're gonna it's gonna be so hot we're gonna be growing oranges in Saskatchewan. It
yeah,
hasn't happened yet. I think like we gotta also give credit like the Earth is more like it's more complex than we know.
yeah.
I'm not gonna say that carbon change and like this putting the carbon in the air, the excessive carbon in the air isn't bad. I
No,
know there are effects to it.
for
We
sure.
can see it all around us.
For sure there has to be, and I think all these companies need to be held accountable for oil spills and like stuff like that. That's really
Oh, yeah.
serious. But I do think we've all come a long way. I think we've come a long way for like even look at the vehicles idling in the winter. Like most new vehicles, when they idle in the winter, you don't even see any exhaust on them, and
Yeah.
that's in the winter where it's mostly heat and steam, right? But like
Yeah.
the old cars from the 70s that I like, my first car was a 78 Caprice. Fuck, that thing on a hot summer day, you roll down the road, you're blowing smoke everywhere.
Oh
Like,
yeah, and most of that's like geez, what's it? Nitrous oxide, it's a nitrogen. I'm
right.
sorry, I'm a chemist for a living, and I don't remember what it is. NO2
NO2,
or NO3.
NO2
Yeah,
is that nitrous oxide?
it's nitrogen gases. It's nitrogen infused oxygen gases, which are really bad apparently for your health too.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, even back those old drum brakes were bad for you too. All the
Yeah.
I don't know if it's carbon dust or what it was, but it was It was like the brake dust that would come off would give people like asbestos poisoning or
Yeah.
whatever. Was it asbestos that they used? I don't remember, but
Yeah.
mechanics were
It's
getting
NO and NO and NO2 that they release. Fuck, I can't remember. I do nitrous oxide system. Yeah, something
now.
like that.
Now they have
But yeah,
catalytic converters and all that stuff
yeah,
to
and
actually.
they improve exactly what you're saying. They improve. We've come a long way. Like we're gonna continue if you let them keep going to fix the problem, they will fix the problem. We gotta have some faith in humans here.
Yeah, but like taxing your middle class, like people were saying. I can't remember what video I was watching, but people were saying this whole thing is where it's like we go to work to support the ultra wealthy and the poorest of us. You know, the poorest of us live
Yeah.
for free on, welfare type stuff, right? And then the richest, obviously they're rich as fuck, so they do what they want. And then
It's not wrong.
and then the middle class kind of
Gets fucked.
holds it all together, but gets fucked. So
There's a reason it's called the middle class, right?
yeah, what's
Because
that?
you're the one in the middle of that human centipede.
Fucking A.
You
I mean-
both have the unfortunate role of eating out of somebody's ass and shitting into somebody else's mouth, specifically.
Yeah, both specifically, yeah. And that's the thing. I don't, I agree with some of the, the left wing social stuff, right? Like I think there should be a safety net for people, like welfare, and there should be ways to help people, but
To an extent.
to an extent. But I think what you should be doing is giving people the tools to pull themselves up, help themselves. The old bootstraps argument. But
I was gonna say, it's kind of crazy because at this point in the podcast, people probably won't know this, but I do kind of see myself as a socialist still, communist. But what used to be considered a socialist.
right.
And I am against any of these welfare type projects that don't push the people to better themselves. They have to be bettering themselves too, otherwise it's a pointless cycle.
Right.
Right.
But what kind of socialism do you think works though? Because from what I've heard and from what I've seen, all socialism usually ends up with communism.
But does it though? Is my question. Here's where I'm gonna trick you. I'm gonna play with your head here. Does it? You drive on a road. How's that paid?
It's paid by the government.
Taxation. What is that? Socialism.
Yes.
The society is pulling the money together, and the government's spending it on a common goal. Our healthcare, the military, all
Right.
these things
Yeah.
are essentially socialist functions. Socialism isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
Like if you put it out to a full out communism, it's bad. It just doesn't work. It's a utopian idea.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
That's
But
the thing. I think everybody should pay for the police and the fire and the roads, and I think that's a good thing for everybody to contribute to that. But I also, at the same token, I don't want people to be controlled, and I want people to be able to buy what we want.
Well, I agree completely with that.
The capitalist stuff, right?
That's essentially how socialism is set. I don't know at what point it was in society, but I know when I was taught in school, socialism and communism were not the same thing. Much like how conservatism and fascism weren't the same things.
Right.
At some point in recent history, every time I see somebody like, geez, I don't even know who to say. What's that annoying Jewish guy?
Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro. I actually like his content, some of his content, some of the videos I see.
Yeah.
I don't see eye to eye with him all the time.
I don't see
Well, I
that
like
with
his
all the time,
content.
but yeah, he's pretty entertaining sometimes.
That's what it's supposed to be. But every time I hear them mention something like socialism, they're always talking about these like super communist countries that failed, right? But they never
Yes.
talk about stuff like the socialist functions in I bet you they're really high on the military.
Yeah.
Would they want one person to be buying a private military? Probably not.
No. And like I think
No.
it has its shortcomings, but I think the socialized medicine in Canada is it's pretty good. I mean, at least if I,
This was.
At least if I break my finger at work, I don't have to pay $6,000, you know?
Yeah.
And then that's lowballing it. But in America, yeah, if you don't have insurance, you break your fucking hand or something by accident, you go to hospital, you got a $12,000 doctor bill. Having
Yeah.
a baby,
And
it's $40,000 to have a baby. What the fuck?
It's fucking insane. But like, if you have good insurance, it basically cuts that off, and most of it, maybe all of it, right?
Yeah, I
But
don't know
still,
how
it's like,
I don't know how insurance, like, to me, I'm used to Canadian insurance, which is like, I mean, for my job, it's like 80% dental, for example.
yeah,
So $100 whatever cleaning or something is $20 on me. That's not too bad. But
yeah.
if it was 80% of 10,000 for like a broken leg in America, again, I don't know what the rates are, but like that's still $2,000 out of pocket. That's out of control.
They can get high. You have a heart attack, and you have an extended stay at hospital, you could be paying up to $500,000.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. If insurance is paying it for it all, I mean, I guess whatever. But like at that point, what's the point of having insurance? And I'm sure an insurance company, your rates must be out of control if the insurance company is willing to pay $500,000.
I find as time goes on and these goalposts kind of get moved, I more and more get put into a conservative field because I tend to agree with them a little bit more on stuff.
Yeah.
But like with stuff like healthcare and some social policies, I feel like I always kind of stick with them. Not all social policies. I've changed my heart on quite a few, to be honest. After having to deal with people who are benefiting from them, so then maybe that's more of a asshole response.
Like what have you changed your mind on? From conservative or social views?
From social views,
like socialist.
One of the main ones is what is the social services people called there? Some social services groups. I can't remember exactly what they're called. It might even just be called social services, but they provide people with housing, homeless people with housing. They just basically rent out a hotel room for them.
Right.
And there are a couple that were really great people. This one lady in particular had just had a kid. She got kicked out of her house. And she was trying to get some help. She was a lovely lady, calm, very polite. Unfortunately, she only got like 2 weeks. And then there was a couple other people. I would fucking name call them, but I can't remember their names. Who were absolute pieces of trash, and doing drugs. They had the kids there. The kids were doing drugs. Obviously, one was a meth dealer.
Oh my god.
And she was in for like 3-4 months. She was just housed for free during the winter. All she did was sleep all day and sell meth. The other lady, she was routinely smoking pot with her 11 and 10-year-old kid in their van, while her 4-year-old would just run around the apartment or the hotel all night.
Oh my god.
So
Jesus.
like, it's neglecting kids, but they weren't doing anything about it. They couldn't do anything about it. The police wouldn't do anything about it. The only time there was any trouble was when they would eventually they'd almost always get kicked out, these bad people.
Right.
Because they'd rob the liquor store that was attached. They just shoplift, and then the shop they just get kicked out of our hotel and put into a different one. So
fuck. And I've also told this on the podcast before, but every time I go into, not every time, but a lot of times when I go into work, I go through the rear entrance, which is in an alleyway. And I don't even live in a big city. And there's fucking so much homeless people downtown, and they're getting free meth from the Saskatchewan Health Authority. And there's always fucking crack pipes littering the alleyway, like just ripe for the fucking picking for somebody to, get glass in their foot or in their tire, or children walking around. It's like, why the fuck? What, like, that's what I want to know. I want to know. Maybe you know the answer, but when the fuck did we decide? because I never knew about this. Like, there's no talk about this. There was no talk about giving free drugs away to addicts. And it just kind of happened. And then I heard about it in America and stuff like that. But I thought it was kind of a joke, like
You thought it was a joke.
a meme
Yeah.
of sorts. But like, I literally saw it, and I saw the paper on the ground. I took a picture of it, and I posted it on Facebook too. It was a picture that said how it was instructions on how to use crystal meth safely. And they gave them the meth, they gave them the pipe, and good luck, have fun. Like, oh my God. I'm like, we are spending tax on this.
Mhm.
Taxpayers' money is going for these fucking junkies.
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, do you know when they started that shit? Like, when?
I don't know exactly when they started in Canada, but I know it was up and going when I had moved to Saskatoon. I set up some cameras and some security stuff at one of those places. And yeah, it's about as bad as you think it would be.
Oh,
It makes no
God.
sense to give them drugs. It's not really. I mean, it might help them live, and I hear a lot of parents talk about it. They lost children from it, and it's sad, but it's their life choice. It's their decision.
Yeah.
One, it costs the taxpayers money, and that's honestly the least problematic of it. I'd be more than willing to pay the tax dollars for it if it didn't help increase the crime too, because they're just getting stoned, doing their things, and
That's the thing.
and it fucks up.
That's the thing. It's a standstill. You give them the
Yeah.
drugs, they don't better their lives. They don't get better. They don't do better. You know, giving them drugs doesn't solve anything.
Well,
Like,
yeah, no, it really doesn't. I actually, since we're on the topic of crime now, I've got some fun crime stuff. I sent a little chart in the chat there. I couldn't find a good one that goes up to the present day, so I wanted to know that. But
there's macro trends.
it's crime per 100,000 people population, right? And
Right.
yeah, this is macro trends. And if you open it, I'll also explain it. You see this chart, and I look at 2005. Crime was up at 2.06 per 100,000 population.
Right.
2006, it goes down to 1.87. What happened in 2006? Harper was elected.
Harper was elected.
And it goes down 1.82, 1.85, 1.82, 1.64, jumps up again 1.7, and then it goes down to like 1.45 and stays kind of close to around that area, like the 1.5 area.
Right.
Trudeau gets elected. There's a little bit of a jump, 1.71.
That's 2015, right?
That's 2015. Yeah, that's not. It's a little bit of a jump, but that's not bad. But 1.71, 1.71, 82, like 1.82, I should say. But it kind of keeps going up to like 0.200, 0.207 in 2021, which was 0.01 over where it had left off when Harper had taken charge. So like crime's consistently gone up. I decided to grab a couple other things.
Wow.
There's this little guy here. This is just a kind of like news police reporting type thing. It shows that violent crimes rose 5% in 2022 after rising 6% in the previous year, so 2021. And I'm not a big gun guy, right?
Right. Yeah.
I'm not the biggest gun guy. I like guns, I really do, but I understand the need for regulations. We don't want to have American style regulations. But here's a quote from Mr. Trudeau in May of 2020. That is why, well, before May, but that is why in May 2020, we took action to put a ban on the use, sale, or import of assault weapons most used in mass shootings. Well, as you can tell that they did this in May 2020 and violent crimes rose 6% in 2021, 5% in 2022. It didn't fucking work.
No.
You know what else doesn't work? Oh, I'm just spamming you with articles now.
Let's do it.
Boom. Provincial jails release thousands of inmates amid calls to slow the spread of COVID-19. Also happened.
Okay. I thought this was a joke.
Oh no, it happened.
This happened.
Guess what year this happened?
2020. 2021?
Oh, but bingo, that is when this article was. I gotta click it. In August 12th, 2020. What are the odds you let a bunch of criminals out of jail
Yeah, and
and
then the violence goes up, the crime rate.
crimes go up? Yeah. I also have. Oh, this is so fun. I love copying and pasting stuff that I'd look for. I'd spend hours doing this. I'm a fucking loser.
Hey, no,
Absolute fucking loser.
I love bringing the receipts.
Badoom! Nearly 20% of inmates homeless upon release from Ontario jails, data shows. You know what really helps with the crime? Homeless people.
Yeah,
They have
homeless
mental
people.
health issues. Maybe they can't hold themselves. That sucks. Really, really, really does. Really does. But their mental health issues should not be our issues.
No, they really shouldn't. That's
Yeah.
the biggest problem I have, and I just want to go back to that crime thing for a second. I actually thought I heard that before, but I actually thought that was a joke that they were releasing people.
Releasing?
Yeah, from the COVID thing, and I thought that was a joke, but that's that's an official article by who is that?
That is official article. That one was
let's see.
by CTV News.
Yeah, that's CTV, which is like
Yeah.
bought and paid for by the liberals these days. But
And Globe and Mail also did the 20% of them being homeless
yeah, homeless.
after release.
Yeah, and that doesn't surprise me because most guys that get out of jail reoffend or they end up homeless because they don't know what to do. You know, that's not
Yeah.
surprising to me. But
You know what else?
RCMP.
RCMP data says that almost half of Saskatchewan homicides charges last year were from people on bail or parole.
Really?
Yep. It just things don't work. I also I don't know if you heard of the Randall Hopley incident in November.
No. What's the Ranley?
He was a sex offender who was living in a halfway home. So he'd come out of jail. He's living in a halfway home. They
Right.
get chances to do like visits. They can go out of the halfway home, but they have to like get it approved and basically come back in. Right? They have to come back in, sign back in.
Yeah.
He didn't
that
sign
makes
back
sense.
in. He went missing for a bit. And I got this little article that is sort of attached to it. That's the wrong guy. That's okay. But what happened is he went missing. So basically, he's on the run, and he gets caught eventually. He was a sex offender. He had abducted a 3-year-old boy. That's him. He's the second picture that I just sent you. That ugly mug.
Yeah, Randall Hopley.
A face that only a mother could absolutely be disgusted at too. Let's be honest.
Yeah, dude's got a lot of forehead.
His punishment was essentially he got a couple of fines, but he is still in the halfway home and he is still allowed to leave for the schedule. Anytime he
Why?
wants to leave, he just has to talk to the guy, his parole guys, and they can let him leave. So basically nothing. The post I sent you before is Stephen Fredrickson, who 2 days after, or I guess 1 day after that other article was posted,
Right.
did the exact same thing as this Randall guy did. He left and he did not come back. So obviously he had seen that there were no repercussions, and he just decided he's going to go on his own. I don't know if he's been caught yet, but slightly different crimes. He was arrested for manslaughter. He murdered it was a transgender man, so a man with the female parts.
Right.
And I guess he also stabbed a prostitute, but he was getting high on crack with this person. Then he woke up half naked by them in bed and decided he was sexually assaulted and killed him.
Oh.
He got a manslaughter. Served like about 10 years, so not too much, but manslaughter time, and was in this halfway home and was granted chances to leave. He had previously stabbed somebody and then he murdered someone.
Jesus.
They should just be in jail.
Yeah. Motherfucker should be
El
making
Sal-
license plates till doomsday.
Yeah, El Salvador had fixed the problem. El Salvador had a big murder problem. You might have probably heard about this one.
El Salvador?
Um, El Salvador used to be the murder capital of the world.
Right.
But their president, Bukele, I'm going to just brutalize his name, and the justice minister, I'm just going to call him Gustavo because, once again, I'm going to brutalize his last name. Then he'll throw me in jail.
Right.
But they did a crackdown, and they basically, huge crackdown. If you're affiliated with gangs, if you're doing these violent crimes, you're going to jail. If you're 13, you can be tried as an adult because the murder rate was crazy. We don't care. We are going hardcore. They dropped the murder rate by 70%.
Holy shit. And where was this?
El Salvador. It's actually a livable place now.
Holy shit. That's crazy. That's like, which one went socialist? Was that Venezuela?
Venezuela was socialist.
Yeah,
and
but they were the ones that went crazy. They had crazy inflation, wasn't it, or something?
They did have crazy inflation and poverty recently. It's actually, from my understanding of El Salvador, it's a pretty cool, unique story. Is they went socialist. Their economy and their country grew pretty nice after initially doing it. And then I believe a new leader came in, or maybe it was still the same leader. I think it was a new leader came in, and they're just kind of shitheads, and it all fell apart. That's the beauty of socialism. If you get one bad leader, you're fucked.
Yeah, exactly. And that was
At least with our system, it's not quite like
that was El Salvador or Venezuela.
That was Venezuela. El
Yeah.
Salvador was saved by this guy who basically just decided, fuck the criminals.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
That's the thing. I do think the problem I have with harsh like prison stuff is that some people do get wrongfully convicted. And
And I agree with that too.
And it actually happens a lot more than you'd think. It's kind of crazy. There's this one guy that's a regular he's on Joe Rogan's podcast all the time. And he has guys. Yeah, exactly. He has guys on there though with him that like were wrongfully convicted. Guys that spent like 20 years behind bars. And it's just because either a lawyer was an asshole and he just really wanted to win. Because when you're a lawyer, your job isn't to be truthful per se. Your job is to win.
Well, it's to win.
Yeah. Your
job to sway them that your guy doesn't deserve whatever sentence they're trying to put on.
Exactly. And like it's like that's how it goes. And like some people, like some of it is forensic evidence, wasn't really good back in the day, and some of it's just like full on just wrongfully convicted. They just got the wrong guy, but the other lawyer sucked and he won. So it's just I hate to see that stuff. Like I'd hate to see like personally I think anybody who murders somebody should just get killed. Like fuck you. But what if somebody's wrongfully convicted for murder and you kill them and then they turn out to be innocent? So that's where you have those problems that arise.
Yeah.
But either way, anytime you crack down this stuff, and it goes back to the whole gun debate, I think guns are good for people. Like, I think obviously if you're a violent person or if you're a criminal or anything like that, you shouldn't be able to buy a gun. But I think the idea of having open, like, think about how low crime is in a place like Texas, where they have concealed carry and open carry in some cases. Like you're not gonna risk stealing the handbag off a lady if she possibly has a 22 in her fucking breast pocket.
Yeah, well, it both works as a deterrent and I will say there's pros and cons to it.
Yes,
obviously there's pros and cons to everything, but like if you give the people who want to open carry good training, consistent mental evaluations and stuff, then I'd be all for it. That's what I want. I want training and evaluations to make sure people are in the right mind for it.
Exactly.
And it works. But if you have somebody who doesn't have that training and a firefight goes off, there's 2 police in the States resigned over it. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like if you look up Acorn Cop, they pat this guy down, right? They check him for weapons, and he has no weapons on him. And they cuff him. And they put him in the back of the squad car, and I guess an acorn falls on it, on the cop car, and the one cop freaks out. And he's shots fired, right? He's on edge, and he starts shooting at the car. And like the sheriff that was with him was like, "Where the shots coming from?" And, he's in the car, and they both start shooting at
Oh,
this car.
oh my God, that's crazy. I just
It's
Googled it, and
it's a fucking crazy video. You got to watch that when you get a chance.
yeah, I'll watch it after the podcast. But like,
Oh yeah,
Donut Operator actually did he did a reaction to it or whatever. Do you know who is Donut Operator by
sounds
chance?
like you.
No, no. Well, Donut Operator is actually he's a Twitch streamer, but he's actually
Yeah.
he's a former cop. So he used
Oh.
to be a cop, and he's retired now, and he just does Twitch streams. But what he does is he reacts and breaks down cop shootings or like cop videos or like crazy videos where like cops were killed or whatever, and kind of obviously he's kind of biased to the police side because
I
he
mean,
was a
he was one.
policeman, but he breaks it down so people understand. Like there's that, I think it was in Canada where I think it was Calgary actually, where that black man got shot and killed
Oh,
downtown,
that's
but he
terrible.
but he had a knife. He had a knife on him, and like they shot his. I think they shot his dog, and then they shot him. But there's this people where his daughter
Dog
was
doesn't
causing.
deserve it.
No, but it was his daughter was causing a huge stink, and everybody thought it was racially charged and blah blah blah. But like if you watch the video, the guy's lunging at him with a knife. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
it's sad that there was loss of life, but like if it comes down to you or me, it's gonna be you. I'm sorry. That's kind of how it goes.
So you like the opposite of the Backstreet Boys.
Exactly.
It's gonna be me.
It's gotta be you. Yeah, I will definitely have to watch that. He mistook an acorn for a shot.
Falling on. Yeah, because it thinked off the hood of the car, and it's oh my god, it's so crazy.
I need to watch that. That was too funny. So what happened with that though? Did it kill somebody or did
No, the guy in the car survived miraculously, no injuries. And there was one injury. The one cop got shot.
what?
I'm doing quotation marks right now. He got shot. I guess during his dive rolling, he hit his knee and he somehow mistook that as a shot.
Oh my god.
Oh no, both of those
Jeez.
guys like they resigned. Both those cops were like, "Oh, we're fucked up. We quit."
I don't fucking blame them. That's so embarrassing.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But
So,
but yeah, I think a lot of stuff people can it's hard to say where you fall on these issues. But going back to Canada and the whole state we're in, the problem I have with the politics and the liberal, obviously it's a meme at this point in Canada. Everybody, it's like America has Trump as their meme. Everybody hates Trump, but then everybody loves him in public. But then everybody memes Trudeau up here, but the public all hates Trudeau. It's kind of the opposite,
yeah.
but the same thing in a way. But like, it's kind of a meme at this point. But what I want as a Canadian, as just a regular law-abiding, tax-paying, overweight person,
Why you had the overweight in there? You going in?
I was just fun.
Yeah.
When I go on WestJet, I want to be able to pay for 2 seats.
Hey man, if you want an overweight guy, I will put on 500 pounds and I'll fucking apply for office there.
Yeah, but then you'll weigh 515 pounds.
Yeah, that'd be horrible.
But like the biggest thing as just a regular old Canadian, I just want to be able to afford the basic stuff. Like, I want to be able to buy a house, have one car for fuck's sakes in the garage, and just be able to afford groceries for me, myself, my wife, my kids. I don't have a wife yet, but
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like that's
so
what
so you,
what's that?
you think they should? You think maybe some lobbyists for Loblaw might be a problem then? This is my segue, by the way.
Is it? I want to hear it.
This is sort of a segue. But you want to? I'll let you finish, and then I'll go into this. You
Well,
want to
well,
avoid things.
well, no, that's what I'm saying though. It's just like I don't understand why everything is so crazy right now, as far as
Yeah.
price goes. The prices that the wages have been stagnant forever, but now housing is a fucking commodity. It's an investment at this point. Starter homes are like $400,000. I don't even want to know where they are in the big cities. Like housing must be insane.
Oh, absolutely insane. And like that's one of the things like I don't have any articles on, but I definitely want to
Yeah.
talk. I'm definitely cool to talk about. The housing price is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
What I was going to talk about though, regarding to lobbyists and Loblaws,
Yeah,
you
let's
hear
hear
about
it.
Pierre Polivier, his strategist, Jenny Byron. I can't pronounce. I don't remember her name. It's like Byron. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with Brine. She was part of a firm that does lobbying for Loblaws, right? And Trudeau fucking called her out on it. Of course,
Uh-oh.
here's my favorite part, and there's a video with it. Trudeau, Max, there's so many names I'm just gonna not pronounce. Max V.
And we're back.
Liberal marketing director for 4 years. What did he do? He did marketing for Loblaws. Don Guy, PM, chief, prime minister's chief pollster, works for GT & Co. Collects money from Loblaws. Dan Arnold, same company, pollster as well for the Liberals. Money from Loblaws. Julie DeWolf, a director of caucus services for Trudeau, now works at GT & Co. Who do they lobby for still? Loblaws. Kevin Bosch, from 2015 to 2017, he was the deputy director for the Liberal Research Bureau. Just guess what he's doing now. Where is he getting his money now?
Oh, from Loblaws?
Geez, you're a smart man. You catch on quick. So I wanted to highlight some of the hypocrisy of this asshole to go after somebody for connections to Loblaws when he has so many connections to Loblaws.
Absolutely. They're the biggest grocery chain in Canada.
Yeah, and they also, like you can talk about how you think they're making a lot of money right now from like the prices, because they are making a lot of money. Technically, they're making quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
Grocery prices are high, but they're still making a lot of money. If the grocery prices were low and they could sell more groceries for cheaper to the public, people would be buying and consuming more, which means more flow of goods, which is, one, better for the economy, but two, that leads to them making more money. So
Yes.
for Trudeau to go out after it, like, this is the cause for the high prices, he's an idiot.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. People aren't spending money. People are barely fucking surviving. That's why our economy's in a shitter right now. Like me, I spend like a few $100s on groceries, but it's like 6 items. Like it's nothing. It's literally nothing. And I just buy the minimalist stuff, and then I buy a few video games on Steam. That's it. Like I there's really no money. Like I'm not buying new TVs or any of that kind of shit to pump money into the economy. There's just no money. There's no money left after bills.
I am.
Are you?
Awkward. I'm doing. Luckily for me, I'm doing fairly well for myself. So, but me and my wife both have good jobs. Like she's got a good education. She's got a good job with a good company. I've got a decent education. I've got a good job with a good company, and it's a shift work type thing. So I'm working away from home for a long time.
Yeah.
For a lot of the year. So I'm making a bit more money on that end. That said, like I'm sort of surprised at how kind of close to check I live on a daily.
Yeah.
But like I still have a little bit of money to to pay off my student loans and save up a little bit and occasionally buy like a TV or something. But we're also a dual income,
Yeah.
no kids at the moment, living in actually very luckily cheap uh, condo. Uh, the other condos around here, the people for rent are charging about 800 more than we're paying.
Holy shit.
So yeah, we got extremely lucky with that.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. And honestly, like just as your friend, I want to say like it's awesome because I mean people don't know this, but like you really do have like a bootstrap fucking story. Because you're not,
Yeah,
there was no like inheritance, any, nothing of that. You kind of worked jobs, you did your electrical stuff for a little while there, and then you did, whatever here and then you got set on going to school. You
yeah.
fucking worked your ass through school, and I think you were working a few jobs while you're going to school
Um,
too.
I at one point I was working. I think I was only ever working about 2 jobs at a time. Three. I did work 3 jobs briefly, but it
Right.
was kind of like while I was leaving a job. But yeah, I was working while going to school for a bit of it. I did have help. I'm not gonna like say it was that there wasn't help along the way, but like
No. Well, everybody
uh,
has.
2016 when I moved to Saskatoon, I was basically making minimum wage. Even hell, freaking 2020 when the pandemic started, I was making like 14 bucks an hour, a little bit over the minimum wage at the time.
Yeah.
Uh, and it was hard, but it's still able to live. Newly married, and yeah, I was just set on going to school and bettering myself in whatever way I could, and working my ass off to make some money. And I've gotten to where I am now. And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this to you first
Yeah,
because
boy.
you're my Cody. Like, if this marriage thing doesn't work out here, me and you are sleeping in the same bed.
Fuck yeah, let's do
Oh, oh yeah,
it.
yeah. I'll be your sugar baby or whatever.
Get
Uh,
over here. You can be my sugar daddy.
Yeah,
Da-
I'm gonna say this. I'm not done yet. I want to work harder. I want to make more money. I want to move up still from where I am.
oh yeah, no, there's no implications that you're done. You're like you can
Yeah.
because you got the education. You did the hard part. The hardest part was, getting there, grinding to get
Oh
there.
yeah.
And now you got a good position and then you could just keep going up.
It is more education I might be going for too. Not gonna lie. I might
Yeah,
get it a little bit higher, get a little bit more. I want to get to a point where
you're a nuclear physicist.
mm, that or me and my family can stay at a Jamaican vacation house for no cost and have the corruption ministers not give a shit. That's where I want.
I want to go to where does Trudeau have his summer home? Like
He has one in, I don't know, Lake Titicaca. I don't
I was just gonna say
some
Lake Titicaca,
some place in Ontario.
some place where the
It's a,
taxpayers pay for it.
hold up, it's on my passport somewhere. Freaking got one of those new passports with apparently Trudeau's in there somewhere.
Oh,
I haven't
good
looked for
lord!
his picture of him swimming in the lake, but he's in there somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. Fucking got rid
So,
of everything else, but had
ye-
had he got rid of the
yeah.
veterans on the passport and all that stuff, but he had to keep himself in there.
Well, yeah, of
Fucking
course.
narcissistic bastard. But
The amount of money he spends on vacations. This is another thing I kind of looked up.
yeah,
I'm not gonna like send too many articles, but like the Toronto Star was complaining about Stephen Harper spending 3.4 million on his annual trip up north. He would take Arctic trips every year from 2006 to 2013, and
yeah,
it cost 3.4 million dollars, taxpayer dollars, for all those trips. That's a lot. I
yeah,
understand. I want to be super happy about that, but at the same time, it's the Canadian Arctic, so he might be doing some work up there. At least talking to the people in the north, representing them, and you have the RCMP costs and shit. It sucks. I'm not happy about it. Trudeau on his India trip, it was tabbed at around 1.66 million. Prices could go up. He took a Montana trip for like a weekend that cost 230,000. This no cost trip to Jamaica, I don't know exactly how much it costs, but obviously he's got to pay for the flying there and the security. It's just no cost for the home he was staying in, and also no cost for him. He's made 82 trips in his time as prime minister. 82 trips so far.
Like vacations?
Just trips, vacations, some of it possibly for a little bit of work.
Yeah, like
That's still
the World Economic
penny.
Forum.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, man. That's ridiculous.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
He spends a lot of money.
Most people haven't gone on 82 trips in their life. Let
Yeah,
alone
most people won't go on 82 trips in their life.
Yeah, let alone like under a decade as prime minister.
Unless they're dropping a lot of acid, they ain't going on that many trips, that's for sure.
No. Or they might be having acid flashbacks. But the other big problem that we have is we have this coalition, right now in Canada between Jagmeet Singh, the NDP, and Trudeau. And the problem I have, I'm sorry, I don't know how you feel about Jagmeet, but
He's an idiot.
obviously a lot of people don't like him, but like, Jesus Christ, the fact that the guy sucks Trudeau's dick when it's time to get down to business, but then every other day of the year it's like, these liberals, they're doing the wrong thing. They're spending money they don't have. They should make groceries more affordable. But I think I'm going to tell you here, like, I think it's just the pension. I think he just wants to stick around, play the long con until he gets his little government pension, much like Trudeau's doing, and then he can kind of silently walk away, and that's it. You know, he doesn't think the NDP is going to win. That's why he's coalitioning. That's why he's doing the coalition.
His coalition thing is like, he wants to get his stuff done, his bills passed, right?
Yeah.
I actually think it's a decent thing. Well, let's rephrase that here. I don't like that they're doing a coalition because it sucks. But like what he's doing for the people who voted for him in particular is good. That's what a politician should do. He knows that the Conservatives won't side with him to get stuff done. He knows the Conservatives are likely to win a majority. The Liberals don't have a majority, so they need backing from the NDP to stay in power. So if he can get some of the bills he wants done and passed,
yes,
by pressuring the Liberals and doing this coalition, then he's doing right by the people who are voting for him. So like, I get it on that end. Like, that's actually kind of commendable. The
for
things
sure,
that he wants to do done might not be the best.
No. And
I think
he talked about, I saw him talking the other day, a few days ago, it was a speech, he was little speech he was doing, that he was saying about how he wants to lower, he said the Liberals aren't working hard enough to lower grocery prices. And he's like, the NDP wants to lower grocery prices for hardworking Canadians. And I'm like, well, yeah, but that's ironic because you're fucking siding with them.
Yeah.
And again, I understand why they're doing a coalition, because with the Conservatives, like you said, conservative majority government, that's it. That's what's going to happen. So, but with the Liberals, they have a shot to still get their stuff passed, because they have to, what is it, over 50% or whatever they have to have for a bill to pass.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, yeah, I think he should have really put into pressure. Like, the NDP could have actually at one point, if he had went to the Conservatives and said, hey, you know what, these guys aren't doing their fucking job. The NDP was in the polling anyway, would have been ahead of the Liberals. It would have been like, I'm pretty sure the first time in history the NDP would have been second place. That would have been crazy.
Yeah.
But like, he's no Jack Layton, right?
No.
He's not that kind of leader. I don't think he's like all bad, but I think he's just way too into this woke politics crap.
Oh yeah, just on the same level as Trudeau.
Yeah.
I don't personally. I think it's going to be Elizabeth May,
Elizabeth May.
the Green Party leader.
Yeah. Totally.
They're gonna win the most seats next year. You wait.
Yeah. I mean, hell, it might be the Bloc. Who knows?
Oh, Quebecois.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, if that ever happens.
They're number one in their own hearts. I
Well-
think if they ever won, they wouldn't know what the fuck to do.
Well, you know, there was literally like talks about Quebec being its own nation or whatever. Like,
Several times.
yeah, like I'm like, Jesus
It
Christ.
talks about the West separating.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I
'Cause-
personally, like, I still rather we not, but I
Yeah.
kind of understand the sentiment.
Yeah, I get what they mean, but I think it's stupid. But would that be interesting? It was like Eastern Canada, Western Canada, and then like the middle is just Quebec.
They just have Western Canada on the other Canada and Quebec. If Quebec ever wins the national election, they become a federal leader. Just imagine in your warped mind that happens. I bet you I know exactly what they do day one. They'd be like, so we can't complain that the federal government is fucked up and then get money, so we're just gonna like step down. Go back to number 6 in line. Then can you pay us, please?
Right.
That's exactly what they do. They wouldn't have a clue what to fucking do. Their whole party's based on fuck you, English guys. You don't respect us. Give us money. That's it. We're gonna separate. Now they're in power. It's like, we're gonna separate. I guess you can. I guess you can. See ya. Bye.
What I was gonna say, what is Yegmeet's nationality?
He's Canadian.
Well, Canadian, obviously, but
Like he's a Sikh Punjabi.
is he Sikh Punjabi? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I know-
Probably
I-
from India. His
Yeah,
family's probably from
because I
India.
noticed he wears the turban, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure because I know he's from like St. John's or something, isn't he?
Calgary, I thought.
I'm
pretty sure he's
looking
from
at
Calgary.
Yegmeet Singh grew up in Scarborough, St. John's,
Oh shit.
and
I'm
Windsor.
completely wrong.
and served as the Ontario MPP from 2011 to 2017. Okay,
Why the fuck did I think he was from Calgary?
I don't know.
I know Pierre went to school in Calgary, but I wasn't mixing
Yeah.
up with him. I think I was mixing up with William Nylander.
I don't even know who that is.
He's the NHL hockey player for Toronto. William Nylander. He's
Oh,
Swedish,
fuck.
but his dad was playing. I think he was born in Calgary. I'm gonna look this up because birthplace was Calgary. Wow, how do I get a Swedish guy and a Sikh Punjabi mixed up?
This sounds like the intro to a joke or a bit.
Yeah.
A Sikh Punjabi and a Swede walk into a bar.
Well, I apologize to Yegmeet Singh for not knowing exactly where he was born and giving false information on that end. I mean, I called him dumb several times. Obviously, like,
Yeah.
I should clarify this. Like, he's obviously not dumb.
No.
He's got to be a smart guy. I just disagree. I think some of the policies that he wants to do aren't the best policies.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
No, exactly. And again, I understand why he does the coalition thing. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I really like in this. I mean, to summarize everything we've been talking about today, because we got to wrap up pretty soon here. But like,
How
really-
much time we got?
oh well,
How much time we got left?
I mean, we got time. Like, we
I
got time if
one
you want to
more
get into
thing.
it.
I got one more thing we can talk about, but
Oh, for sure.
You can do your thing now if you want.
Oh no. Well, we could talk about it for sure.
Awesome.
I just want to say to summarize this whole kind of political climate in Canada right now is this: I don't think Canada could take another 4 more years or 2 more years. What are the terms in Canada? It's 4, right?
Yeah, 4 to 5. But the leader can call it at any time he wants.
Yeah, and there could be a vote of no confidence, but that fucking
Yeah.
never happens. But I don't think we can handle another 4 years. Like, when's our election? It's next year, right?
2024 or 2025, I believe. He has to call it.
This year or
Or
next year?
what is it? 2025, 2026. I think he's got to call it next year.
I think so, yeah. But
Yeah.
my point is, I don't think we can handle. I don't think our economy can handle another 5 years of
Everyone's
inflationary
ready.
liberal spending. Like, I'm not gonna lie. So I was with Ryan Hauster, friend of the show. We were sitting at a brew house and we were watching the election live, having dinner. and we were with my brother and I can't remember who else was there, but like we were watching the election live. The polls were in, they were counting and all that. And at the end, like the whole time, I was cocky as fuck. I'm like, Andrew Scheer's in, no problem. Everybody hates Trudeau, and
I didn't
no,
like Scheer.
I wasn't a big fan of Scheer, honestly.
I voted for him.
I voted for him too, but like
I don't like him.
I really want anybody. Here's my thing about Scheer. He just has the personality of a wet paper towel. Like he's just a wet napkin. Like he's bland. He's
nicest thing anyone's ever said about him.
Yeah. I mean, like, he's fine, whatever, nice enough dude. I'm sure I'd shake his hand if I saw him. He seems all right, but like just he doesn't have that pop. He doesn't look like a prime minister. He doesn't talk like a prime minister, you know? But like that's where
You don't need that.
I mean,
like,
you don't
goes a long
necessarily
way as a leader.
It does, and it just like you gotta. Some people are moved by just how you look. Do you know how many people voted for Trudeau just because he's a handsome man? It's fucking scary.
I don't know. The percentage of women in Canada is what, 51%?
Something like that. Some of them might identify as women.
Well, hey, let's get into that. Let's get into that. Speaking of polls and shit. So, what do you think about your parental rights? You got parental rights? What do you think about parental rights?
Oh God, I know exactly what you're going to talk about. But is this the topic you're talking about? That you want to talk about?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay. Oh my God, I know exactly what you're talking about. Because there's that one guy. What did he say? He said that there are no parental rights in Canada, right?
NDP Randall Garrison.
Yes, get into it.
Parents have no rights, only responsibilities. And as part of my puberty blockers and affirmation segment that I'm going to put here, because Alberta has recently gone through what Saskatchewan just did, which was they put in a legislation on parent rights that prevents kids from under 16 from changing names or pronouns without parental consent. So I really wanted to go into this because I got so much stuff. I even got a Dr. Phil thing from the Joe Rogan podcast. Don't put that in your title. Monetized.
I'm gonna keep that off there.
Yeah.
Who'd you say? Bro Jogan?
Bro Jogan. Good guy. So, but I sent you this video. I guess what are your thoughts on parental rights, though? This is in particular, I guess, Saskatchewan, Alberta wise, the parental bill of rights. I can't remember what they call it. I got it here somewhere, but I can't remember what they called it. It's C46, I think. Yeah, there it is. C46.
See if you have it in here.
Yeah, I got. I'll send it to you here right now. Because I'm a cool guy. I actually found the bill and I read the bill throughout. So
okay,
for
so
anyone here who wants to try to bullshit, I've read it.
Okay, so you have the notes on it.
It's super long, but like just parental rights wise, I have a bad
well why don't
here I'm not gonna show.
Well, why don't I'll let the viewers listen to this video here. We'll play it out here. It's 2 minutes and 36 seconds. I'll let them. I'm sure you've listened to it already, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know I've listened to clips of this, but I'll let them listen to it here, and then yeah, we'll talk about this whole thing and see what's going on here.
Perfect.
Certain Canadians may back off the Alberta Premier on.
Oh, before I play it, what's this guy's name?
His name is, I have it in here somewhere, Randall Garrison.
Yeah, Randall Garrison. So this video is Randall
Garrison.
Mr. Garrison. Oh my God, that's hilarious. I never even put that together, but is it this bald fuck? So yeah, this is Randall Garrison, an NDP politician from Canada, and he's talking about parental rights. So yeah, we'll play it here.
Actually implementing these harmful policies. Clearly, we know, as I said, what works for trans kids is to support and affirm them, and a course of treatment with puberty blockers is part of that successful treatment that allows them to grow and develop into who they really are, and it allows families to have a role in that process, and it allows medical professionals to make the decisions.
If it becomes legislation, what steps should the federal government be taking?
Well, I think that in this case it would regard the Canada Health Act and denying necessary medical treatment under the Canada Health Act. And there are provisions for the federal government to take action when necessary health care is denied to Canadians.
Do you view this as a parental rights issue at all?
Well, I'd like to say, first of all, there's no such thing as parental rights. In Canada, there are parental responsibilities. And in Canadian family law, the primary responsibility of parents is to support and affirm their kids. Children have rights in Canada, and these kind of policies restrict the rights that children have in Canada.
So then is this taking away rights from children in your viewpoint?
Absolutely infringing both on the rights of children, but also, as I want to state again, it's dangerous and harmful to transgender kids, not just to implement these policies, but to talk about them in this hateful way, which results in stigmatization and isolation of kids who are just trying to be kids.
Just to go back to what you were saying about the Canada Health Act, are you suggesting that maybe some funds should be withheld?
I'm suggesting the federal government look at the Canada Health Act and see what options it have. Should the Premier of Alberta, and I understand the Premier of New Brunswick said he's also interested in making restrictions on health care. That's not really allowed under the Canada Health Act. I'm not going to say to the Federal Health Minister at this point what specifically he should do, because we don't know specifically what the Alberta government or the New Brunswick government intends to do.
Just to take a step back, I mean, I guess many of those conversations stem from the fact that people are looking at the numbers. There are more and more. There's been a dramatic increase in the number of trans kids, and some people are wondering whether there's a fashion, like a trend or something. What do you respond to those who say maybe we have to put a stop to that trend?
So there has been no increase in the number of trans people in Canadian society. What we have made is a more inclusive society where trans people don't kill themselves. And so what we're seeing is people being able to be who they are. There is no such thing as an increase in the number of trans kids going on in this country.
But SASKKyle did indicate that, like, for people...
Because of acceptance, people are able to speak about who they are and to live who they are. It doesn't mean there weren't trans people before. It meant they were forced to stay in the closet or they killed themselves.
Okay, so that was a horrifying video. I'll be honest.
It was a lot.
I'll be honest. Yeah, so I watched the whole thing there, and as well as the viewers did. And yeah, that guy is very, very wrong. He needs a slap on the fucking head.
He's wrong on so many things.
I'm sorry, but I can't agree with him about the whole there's always been this many transgender people. It's just they were in a closet or dead. Like, are you fucking kidding me? That many?
No, it's
a trend.
almost certainly impossible.
I hate to say that.
Yeah.
Okay, just let me be clear. Are there trans people? Absolutely. Are there gay people? Absolutely. All that stuff. That's all real. But like, there is so many kids, because I have kids, and I have kids that are in school, and I've seen it in the school system that kids are being prodded, we'll say, into exploring this whole transgender thing, right? It's on YouTube, it's everywhere, it's TikTok, everywhere. It's being shoved in their fucking faces, and a lot of kids, they're like, hey, I kind of want to do that. Like, I have a friend. Yeah, it is. It really is. And I have so many kids. There's so many fucking kids that I know from other parents, talking to other parents, talking to, my own children. There's so many kids that are, oh, I'm lesbian today. I'm bisexual today. I'm pansexual today. I'm fucking a snail. There's actually a
They don't even know what they are.
Yeah, there's a subsect of kids, Kyle, I'm not even joking, that I can't remember what they call it. It's something calisthenics or something. It's like, but it's basically their whole thing is that they walk around on all four legs like a dog. But they just, they do it. It's a whole thing. And then I was like, because I would ask them, like, hey, is such and such still acting like a dog at school? And they're like, no, they finally got out of that phase. I'm like, oh, yeah. So it was a phase. They weren't really a dog. Okay.
We don't have to affirm them on everything.
No.
There's emotional support and encouragement, yes, but like, you don't have to affirm them. They're kids. You're supposed to be their guidance.
Yeah.
You're supposed to guide them, and you can't do that from behind, letting them pick every direction and just like saying, no, we support your decision to jump off this fucking cliff. No. I'm not saying that it's the same thing as jumping off a cliff either, but he's wrong on a lot of things.
No.
So I got something here.
Yeah.
There's two published articles there. I sent them a little bit up from
Yeah.
the NCBI, right? At the medical journal stuff. One of which was published on March 15th. I'm not going to go into it, but it basically says that the hormone blockers, the puberty blockers are good and they're saving lives. Then I got one from that was March 5th, 2015. So this is June 3rd, a few months later, right? And this is a direct quote from it. This is from the end of it, but it's one study did demonstrate a positive psychological effect based on measures taken from between 41 to 57 individuals with no control group. A second study cited by actually showed no statistical difference between improvement in psychological functioning between the group prescribed puberty blockers and the group given therapy. So the one positive psychological like anything like that
Right.
measure that they took, poll or graph or study they did, whatever you want to call it, it had between 41 and 57 individuals, which is not nearly enough, and it also had no control group. That is a flawed study. That is a joke. That is an absolute joke. If somebody came to me with that for like anything,
Yeah, that's
I
your
would laugh
proof.
in their face. It's not scientific. It's just not scientific. So, and that's a lot of what these people are going for. I also sent some stuff that Sweden, as a matter of fact, lots of European nations, I think all of Europe pretty much at this point, has gone back on gender affirming care. They don't do it now unless it's in a clinical trial, part of a clinical trial, because they've determined it's too dangerous. Dr.
Right.
Phil on the Bro Jogan podcast had even talked about this kind of stuff. This is where I kind of found out that Sweden stopped doing it. But like, he's a psychiatric professional, right?
Yeah.
But he's talking about like the teachers aren't trained to make these decisions and hold these decisions.
No.
They just aren't. They don't have the medical knowledge. They don't have the psychiatric knowledge. You have to put it to people who know this stuff. And it's scary that the American society, and of course Canada as well, who's pushing it even harder, have signed off on all these things with so little evidence.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, like, I actually watched that episode where I've watched a couple of them with Dr. Phil on there, and
Mhm.
that is the thing, is like, these people aren't trained psychologists, and the thing is, they're actually encouraged not to tell the parents. Like, they say, like, don't tell your parents, and we're not going to tell your parents, because like, they're doing this shit sneakily, right?
They are.
It's
It's going sneaky.
And that's what I really don't like about it, because like, you're going above parents' fucking heads. And I was actually having a conversation to a friend about this the other day, about how, like, isn't it funny that like the kids who were homeschooled used to be considered retarded? Like, like, if you're homeschooled, it's like, oh, you're homeschooled, you must be an idiot.
Yeah.
But now it's
They're
like,
dumb.
fuck, the smart people are getting homeschooled because the
Like,
system
damn,
is
that homeschool guy's so smart.
seriously,
He knows
like,
he's a boy.
yeah, fuck. Like, that's
Like,
what I
yeah, I
mean.
got
It's
XY. I got a penis, XY chromosomes. I'm a
yeah.
boy.
And that's the thing. I don't even care about, like, if people. The thing is, when you were a kid, you used to pretend you were like Goku and stuff. Like, we used to pretend. You would make believe, right? Like, you go play outside. We did that, but our parents didn't have to fucking come out and be like, "Yes, you really are Goku. You want a Kamehameha? You could fucking shoot the. You could shoot the moon, blow it up. You could also turn into a giant ape in the full moon if you have your tail still. Do you have your
Yeah.
tail?
I'd be I'd obviously be the world's #1 Pokemon trainer, but like I'd be since I only had a sister, like we play Sailor Moon. I'd be like, okay, I guess I'm usually Tuxedo Mask, but like, fuck, today I'm Sailor fucking Jupiter. We're gonna go around. Fuck, I'm lucky I wasn't born in this day and age.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
like, that's what I mean. It's a matter of kids are making believe. That's what they do.
They
Kids do that shit all the.
they're their minds exploring the possibilities.
Yeah, I talked about this before. I think I have on here, but I literally used to have like a whole fantasy world. Like it was like me and my brother and a couple of our friends when we were really little. We used to like be the warriors of light, and we would fight like imaginary monsters. But it was like it's just all make believe. It's kids playing. But
Yeah.
like now it's saying that if you were make believing that you were like some cat warrior or something, like now it's like your parents have to be like, no, you are a cat warrior. You could actually you could put
can
a
be.
you could wear a tail to school. You can, you know, crawl
Yeah.
around on all fours, and like it's just
wrong.
It's fucking nuts because it's like
So you'd be one of these parents then. Scott Moe, he had a tweet that saying 86% support his bill. And this is he sent a graph. I sent it. It's a little bit up earlier.
scummo.
Yeah, but it's basically which policy do you prefer? It's got
Oh right, yeah, I see
3,016
it.
people, 3,016 people who voted in this. So it's a better poll for one, better statistics. But his 86 is the 50% and the 36% that say parents must be informed of their child wants to change identity, wants a different identity, and also that they should give conformed consent. One's conformed consent, one's just that they're informed. So that's
Right.
his 86. So
It's
I'd assume you're
scary.
part of that 86% then.
Oh, absolutely. I honestly think that parents should give consent, but like, I mean, definitely have to notify them.
I agree. I mean, I agree. You definitely have to notify them. I definitely agree they
Especially
should have to give consent too.
like honestly, if your kid wants to identify as a different gender, I mean, it's fucking weird, but whatever. But like, especially when it comes to puberty blockers and stuff like that, when you're actually altering their chemistry, your chemist, you know
alters,
this.
and it is not temporary.
No, it's not.
It is not.
It's scary that there's like the not sure can't say that's whatever. Like that happens
And
on every
they
survey.
all so many, everyone, literally, basically every single person I've ever heard talk about this, like from the other side, they all believe it's completely reversible.
Oh my god. What's ATL? Atlantic?
Yeah, ATL would be Atlantic
Atlantic
Canada.
Canada, Quebec,
Yeah,
Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan,
Ontario.
Alberta. I'm
Yeah,
surprised Alberta.
Alberta's-
So
Yeah, I'm surprised Alberta wasn't just all like just a giant burning. cross.
that
Jesus.
43 should have been 80.
Yeah.
But still, it is the lowest number for, well, one of the lower numbers for
Yeah.
actually
Well-
Quebec has 11% and Saskatchewan has 10. So
Yeah. Well, and then there's CBC here. I'm just gonna paste this here so you can look at it. The
Yeah.
exact thing. They got a survey from the same place where Mo did. It's slightly different. It's on who agrees with Scott Mo's plan, and you'll see that it's a lot more for the support wise. It's a lot more different. Okay, this is actually a CBC article. I got the wrong place. Damn.
okay.
But that's okay. That's okay. But at the end of the day, it's like 48. They say 48% of people
Yeah.
kind of support it with exceptions, basically. I've actually found it in my chat thing here. That's good. But the exact numbers is like 44% strongly support the SAS parties thing, 11% support. Scott Mo's saying it weird with the 86%, but his is based off of the policy itself, which is parents must be informed and parents must be informed and consent. That's where he gets his 86%. This is just based off people's polling on whether they agree with the SAS party's policy that they put into place. And here comes the funny
Right.
part. And I say funny with kind of quotations here. Places like Star Phoenix, I had also sent an article up there earlier. I'll just do the important quote, is that most people are sensitive to issues facing their children. However, some parents may not be approachable or supportive of children experiencing qualms about sexual orientation or gender identity. Those are the students who are most likely to avoid speaking to the parents and seek out teacher or other school employees to confide in.
Yeah.
So the way these articles are putting it and the way the opposing people are putting it is that this goes against children's rights, and that it could put the children in face of harm and stuff like that. So they shouldn't be outed by the schools, essentially, because there's these fears of these problems. Here's the fucking kicker.
Right.
I have sent you the actual bill that was passed with the notwithstanding clause. So, section 197.4, subsection 1. It prevents kids under 16 from changing their names or pronouns without parental consent. Correct. That is what they're worried about, that the parents has to be informed to have consent. But section 197.4, subsection 2. It allows schools to come up with a coming out plan if the child feels unsafe. If there is risk of violence or fear of reaction that may harm the child, this is mentally or physically, the child is looked into. The exact wording goes that it won't be the teachers doing this, but the school will direct them to a professional who will be able to help the kid come out and to ensure the child is safe when they are coming out, and there is not this risk of violence. It's a very low risk of violence already. I'll tell you that. That I don't have any data to back up, unfortunately. But like when you read the charter, it's telling that it's going to get professionals, very specifically the professionals, to do it. And I think that's the most important thing that people are ignoring. They already have this clause that makes people worried about it, that these people are fighting against, and how bad it is that you're going to out the children, and like their parents are going to beat them to death because everyone hates trans people. But they already have something in there. So
Right.
that's one of the things I just really wanted to bring up, because as I'm not a parent, but as somebody who wants to be a parent at some point in my life, I'm more than willing to take that responsibility, but I damn sure have fucking rights.
Oh yeah.
I want to make that kid successful. I want to make that kid know what's going on in the world and be better than me. And I can't do that by just listening to everything they say, because they're going to want to have ice cream for fucking supper. I can't
Yeah.
affirm that shit.
No, you can't. And these people are just out of touch. I agree. We're not barbarians anymore. This isn't the fucking, the 1800s where we're, strapping kids and shit like that. I'm a little bit lighter than that, but like, I agree with like regular disciplinary action and just being there for your kids. But you need to correct wrong behavior and guide them through life. You don't need to fucking agree with everything they say, because kids are speaking from a person with experience here, we'll say. Kids are absolutely idiots. They
Yeah,
know nothing of the world outside of them. But guess what? That's called being a
they would.
child. That's called being a
Yeah.
child. You don't grow up. You don't. I mean, not till you're even 25 is your brain like developed. So like you're just constantly learning, and you're really dumb. So
Yeah.
you can't expect them to know everything about the world. Like when I think about myself when I was like 20, even compared to now, holy shit, I was a dumbass.
Oh yeah. Oh
I,
yeah, I agree 100%.
I was a real
You
fucking
were a
idiot.
dumbass.
I do agree though. Seriously, I was so fucking
Yeah.
dumb. But like,
We're all dumb.
that's the thing. But we're all growing and we're all learning. But like, if I had everything that I, did as a 15-year-old, even affirmed by my parents constantly and like into law, yeah, I'd probably be a fucked up green-haired blob too. It's just that's what's happening.
Yeah, I don't even want to know what I'd be. Oh God, I don't want to imagine half the shit I did.
Oh yeah, like
Ugh.
it's crazy, right? And that's why we're seeing this uptick. Part of it, I mean, this is just my own theory, but like part of it to me, I think is because of social media and how easy it is for people to cheat in relationships. So relationships aren't lasting as long, so there's a lot of single parents. And that's leading to kids getting fucked up, because there's a lot of kids growing up without a stable father in their lives. So they don't get that discipline, they don't get that backbone from a father, and they, because they all live with their mom most of the time or all the time. Maybe the dad's a deadbeat, or maybe the dad only gets them a couple days a week, So they don't get
Yeah,
that
the
back.
parents are just dumb.
That's the thing. They don't get that
Like,
backbone, so they just do what they want when they want, and
mhm,
the economy sucks, so both parents have to work, and
yeah,
the teachers spend the most time with their kids, and the
yeah.
teachers are being coerced by the system to fuck up your
Some of
kids.
them, it doesn't take much to be a teacher too. Like some of them are like they grew up in a situation that they're not sure of their sexuality themselves, and they push it on kids, and they think, well, I didn't get this. Maybe they think that they're doing something good, but like it's the same thing as misery loves company. Their
Yes.
job shouldn't be to convince kids of their sexuality or anything like that. It should be to just teach them.
No,
But no,
exactly.
they're not doing what's right. They might think they're doing something that's right, but quite frankly, like I don't we know they're not doing the right thing. Like it's just look at how society is right now. It's very divisive. It's kind of fucked up. And these kids, like, there's absolutely no evidence, but they are spewing it like that. It's evidence that this is life saving. It will prevent them from committing suicide, but there's no evidence showing that. None at all. The only difference is with the therapy, it's not physically causing any problem, anything with the child. With the puberty blockers, the child could be fucked up for life.
Oh yeah. Also, as a small footnote, I want to add there. I don't know if you caught my episode a few weeks ago, but we don't actually say suicide anymore online. That's a hurtful word.
Really?
We say unaliving.
Unaliving.
Yeah.
Okay, unaliving.
I don't know if you did watch that episode, but I had a freak out about that.
Oh yeah.
It was a whole freak out about just about people. They're changing the vocabulary because there's
I've
trigger
heard, like,
words,
yeah.
right? There's trigger words online.
TikTok doesn't do it.
Yeah.
TikTok, I know TikTok doesn't let you say it, and I know there's a lot
Yeah,
of places that
well, a lot. Yeah, like literally, you will get censored for saying words like kill or suicide. So people will like star them up, or they
Yeah.
say different words for it. Like,
Yeah, and when I'm losing at fucking Call of Duty and I tell people to kill yourself, they like
I
seem
know.
like it's toxic or something. I don't know. I don't understand.
I don't know. People are babies these days.
A little bit,
Yeah,
but yeah,
they use words like unalive and hang up, and it's like, fucking stop making up words, you assholes. Like, just let people use the
Yeah.
words. We're gonna be okay, guys. We don't need a safe space for every fucking thing.
we really freaking don't. And for me, it comes down to like with this in particular, where are my responsibilities supposed to go? Because if having my kid take puberty blockers and something goes wrong with them and they off themselves, like, am I still responsible for that then, or what? Because apparently that's the argument they're making, that
Yeah,
I'm responsible for every decision that they make and everything in their life. I have to affirm it, but I also have the responsibilities to make sure they're healthy and safe. So, like, if they want to do heroin, I don't know where I'm supposed to lie on that. Is it my right to tell them no, or am I fucked?
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah,
I
think
was
we all just want. Yeah,
I was just joking about the suicide thing, by the way. But like, I don't care if people say that on this podcast. But like, seriously, no.
Awesome.
It's seriously no. And it does happen. A lot of people will commit suicide because they transitioned young, because they thought it's what they wanted, but then they grow up and they have a brain, and they're like, "Oh shit,
Yeah,
I mutilated my body for nothing." And that's
yeah.
what I'm trying to avoid. We all had that girl in our class that was a tomboy, and we all had that kind of feminine guy. And a lot of those feminine guys just turned out to be gay guys, which is fine. And a lot of those girls they either grew out of that phase, or they just ended up being like, blue collar women, which is fine. It's just there's not people go through phases, man. Remember, I had my colored hair phase.
Yeah, you did. That
Yeah.
was.
Yeah,
Hey, man.
mental breakdown.
Nice.
But
rocked your colored hair and did your thing.
fuck yeah.
I always thought it was like a Markiplier type thing.
Kind of was a Markiplier thing, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I knew it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think it all comes down to the same thing. Like you as a parent, me as wanting to be a parent, and quite frankly, I think these polls should be restricted to the people, and these decisions on children's, upbringing should be restricted to the people who are wanting to bring up children of their own.
Yeah,
which is
keep
not
this-
really much of that community because they can't do that.
keep the feds away from my children.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, we all want the same thing. Good, strong, free children, um, liberated children, uh, you know, just controlled democratic children to grow up strong and take Malevelon Creek. That is all we want.
Yeah, we want to spread that controlled democracy.
Controlled democracy.
Well, that just means
It's
we
a
have to play.
country.
That means
Yeah.
we have to play Helldivers 2 tonight.
Oh, I might have a little bit of time. My wife is still talking to her friend. So, we got time.
What is she doing her own podcast?
No, she's like talking about girl stuff.
Oh,
Like
periods
they're
and
supposed to be
cooties.
like working out and stuff.
Oh, working out, being healthy.
Yeah.
Don't you just go on that pill? What's it called?
Heroin?
What's the what's the weight?
Methamphetamine? That makes you
No,
lose weight.
Ozempic. That's the one. Ozempic.
Zempic. Oh.
Yeah, Ozempic is it's that new weight loss pill that everybody's taking. That's like apparently has 0 side effects, and I'm like, well, we'll see.
Yeah, but pill that has 0 side
I
effects.
could already
so,
hear.
yeah.
I could already hear it in my ears. The fucking the PSA in like 10, 15 years going like, did you take Ozempic? Do you have back pain? You may be entitled to compensation.
You're gonna feel so bad when you hear it, and it's like, did you take Ozempic? Is your dick fucking huge? You're gonna be like, I should have took it.
Are your muscles big as shit? Do you look like Negan from The Walking Dead?
Yeah.
Good job.
We have linked that Ozempic makes your dick huge, your muscles huge, all the girls love you, and your skin is smooth.
Yeah, I gotta feel that's not gonna be the case, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
If it is, no
Also
side
gives you
effects.
genital herpes.
If it has no side effects, I mean that's great, but
Yeah.
I find it hard to
Good luck
believe.
with that. Everything
But
has side effects. Oxygen has side effects.
yeah, carbon dioxide
One of which is living.
and living.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you have anything else that you were wanting to bring up?
No, I
No?
figure I got through. I did my best.
Yeah.
I
It was
for
awesome, dude.
democracy.
You're like I my archive is empty now.
Yeah.
But no, the one thing I wanted to close it down with though was just touch on this shortly. I've talked about it before, but I wanted to get kind of your take on it because I got you here. Is the whole news censorship in Canada? How they're not allowed to spread like news is not allowed on social media anymore.
Yeah.
And
I've seen that.
yeah, and it's true because you see it, and it's funny because I'll have memories on Facebook that come up, and I'll click on the memory, and it'll be like this content is not available in Canada anymore due to this bill C whatever the fuck, right? And I'm like, God damn it, those motherfuckers! And
Yeah.
that's to me, that's too far. That's an overreach of government to me.
Well, with Instagram and Facebook and stuff in particular, like they're doing it to spite the Canadian government making this law in the first place. So I understand why they kind of block it. But the fact that the Canadian government wanted to basically censor certain news articles that weren't approved is ridiculous.
Well, they wanted to censor all news and like no news is allowed to be on social media.
Well,
unless
they
it's
wanted news on social media. It just had to be approved
yeah,
by them first.
Exactly. It had to be approved by them, and it had to be an official. Didn't have to be like an official broadcaster.
It had to be from an official broadcasting, and that's where the main problem fucking came.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why Facebook's like, no, fuck you.
But the funny thing is, like the Trudeau government got that bill through, and then they were like gaslighting Facebook, saying like like people like, oh, blame Facebook if you're not getting the news. It's like, well, no, you're the one that fucking did it.
Yeah.
Like you started this whole bullshit thing, and I hate it so much because that is such a weird commie thing to do. I really don't like it. I don't like the idea of not having access to news clips or anything like that on social media because let's face it, that's where everybody gets their news these days.
Yeah, it's fascist, really. What it ends up being is like it's a fucking fascist thing.
Yeah.
Is I mean, communist as well. Obviously, it's a dictatorial thing, a dictatorship type thing.
Yeah, that's what it is. Dictatorship, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is more in line with fascism, but it's
Well, and communism too. Let's be fair.
for
Yeah,
sure, yeah.
communism and fascism are so weird because on the opposite side of the spectrum, like the political spectrum, but everyone sees it like a line when really they should see it like a circle. Those two are kissing each other. There's so much they want to be the exact same fucking thing. They're like, fascism, communism. We want to
Yeah.
control and suppress our people too. It's awesome.
Yeah, because like fascism is like Hitler, and then communism is like Mao and Stalin.
Yeah. Well, like communism's like, oh yeah, the party's so great. Everyone loves the party. And fascism tends to generally go, it's like, oh yeah, our people are the fucking best. We're the best people of all time.
You got a problem with blue-eyed blonde hair?
No.
Good. The Gestapo will not be stopping by today.
Don't be taking my blood. It's got curly hair.
Uh-oh.
My family's got a history of fat noses, so I mean, I'm not anti-Semitic, but
if you
I
have
might be part of the Semitic if I'm being honest. Be a little part of it in there.
if you have any kind of hack in your last name,
Yeah.
you're screwed.
Yeah. I don't think I'd be surviving fucking 1930s Germany. I
No.
think they'd be doing a background check.
For me, they'd probably hire me for the guard tower. They'd be like,
Fuck yeah, great, perfect.
they'd be like, you dirty blonde,
Yeah.
hazel-eyed, big motherfucker. Go
Like, hey, why don't you drive this truck around?
Yeah.
It's a little noisy at start, but after a couple blocks, it'll quiet down.
Oh,
That is
fuck.
the worst fucking joke I have said, and I said it on your podcast.
Hey, everybody loves it. Everybody loves a
It's
good joke.
horrible. It's a Don't kill people.
Yeah.
That's my official position.
I feel like these days you got to make everything clear to people about jokes and whatnot.
Yeah.
So just to be clear for everybody, Kyle is not a fascist dictator.
No.
That's our real leader, Trudeau. That's him.
But one day, if I work really hard, I might climb that ladder.
Yeah, you never know. You know.
I'm just a grunt right now.
But one day,
Oh,
you could have a caucus of your own, a big caucus.
don't kill people. Kill automatons.
Kill automatons and bugs.
Oh yeah.
But either way, yeah, I think I was gonna wrap it up there. I'm not happy about the whole news thing. I just think that's weird, and I just thought it was really funny how Justin Trudeau gaslit like the Facebook and all those people into like being like it was their fault. But
It's what he does, man.
yeah, it's good at what he does, I guess. But hopefully we can get that bastard on next year. But
I mean, I wouldn't say good. He's
well,
fooled half the country. but that's it.
no. He's terrible at what he does, but he's a good speaker, so people,
That's true.
he
Hey, I had a weird dream.
yeah.
Sorry. Oh god, dream part. I had a weird dream where I wanted to like confront fucking Trudeau and say a bunch of shit. And I've got a friend, I'm not gonna say who it is, but I've got a friend who said some nasty things about the guy, things
Mhm.
that I don't agree with, things that hopefully have him on a list. Right?
Yeah.
But like I wanted to like just get in his face and like beat him down about his policy. What ended up happening is like I just couldn't do that, and I ended up working as a security guard for him for some reason. And I was like, honestly, and this is the policy you should take. I don't agree with his politics, but one, I'd shake his hand, like I'd have a drink with him, a non-alcoholic drink for me, but I'd have a drink with him. I'd talk to him. I don't have to like his politics or like him as a person, but as a Canadian citizen, I'd let him into my business to do a tour or whatever if he really wanted to. I'd be polite.
Yeah.
I'd be polite to him. You should be polite to him. He's still a politician. He's still a leader. He's still, at the end of the day, a human. You might not like his job, but
What was it,
he's a
Trudeau?
person. Hell yeah.
Yeah. No, honestly, I've said that before. I would honestly sit down and talk with the guy. I would.
Yeah.
Like, I don't wish him any ill will per se. really fucking wish he wasn't leading our country
Yeah.
into the
I wish he was
seventh
out.
into the seventh circle of hell and spending all of our money. But either way, thank you so much, my brother, for coming on. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
And I like that you brought all the receipts. And dude, we'll have to do one around election time next, whether it's next year or the year
Whenever
after.
the fuck it is.
Yeah, we'll have to do
Yeah.
one. We'll make it like an election podcast.
Oh yeah, fuck, I'd be down for an election podcast.
That'd be sweet, and we'll just be like doomsdaying.
Yeah. But like the polls are in and Trudeau's won by a landslide. That doesn't seem right.
And oh, there's a magic bullet in the air. There's somebody
that's
laying
weird.
down on the grassy knoll.
Why are there a bunch of marching guards outside? Why are they all wearing different colors? All rainbow colors. Thongs. It's weird. Uh-oh.
He actually has a secret place, and they're called the Gestapo.
Yeah.
That's a good
that
joke.
lady's got that lady's got a major bulge. That lady military lady coming towards me has a major bulge. I'm kind of afraid right now.
Fuck. The Gestapo. Either way, guys, we're gonna wrap it up there because we could go off forever. We got dozens of articles to go through.
We gotta fucking take the creek.
Yeah, we gotta go take Malevolent Creek and continue our Helldivers 2 adventure. But yeah, once again, thank you everybody so much for listening. I appreciate it as always. Kyle, thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
and
thank
you. Do you have anything you want to shout out first? Is there anything? Your Twitch channel?
Shout out? You know, honestly, there's no need for me to shout out anything. If you want to find me on Twitch, it's at SASKKyle. You could be my third or fourth viewer of the day, and it'll be a great time.
Hell yeah, brother. Yeah, that's twitch.tv/SASKKyle.
Yeah.
I'll leave a link in the description below. And as usual, all links to my social media are in the description below.
Yeah, come call us fascists.
Hell yeah. Do whatever you want. It's a free country, I think.
For now.
Yes. All right. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.